Okay, welcome back. Solo role Mangging. Shadowdark. I know this is sort of just like a really so far generic experience, you know? Like we haven't really done much of anything that's like, I don't know, unique dungeon experience or something like that. It's really just been a lot of wilderness stuff, but it's been interesting. And it's been fun just sitting here and trying to refine Shadowdark and test out different rules and things and learn different mechanics as far as different ways of doing things I'm already familiar with, like surprise and stuff. So last time we headed out to the northwest to try to find this sunken temple, underground temple that these hobgoblins came from. But we ended up just obliterating some trolls and getting some treasure. I guess I could have had the Sunflare destroy the treasure as well, but I didn't. I don't think I would have been too shocked, although, if a DM had ruled that, because I dropped that Sunflare right on top of it. Yeah, and it does kind of specifically say can damage structures in its area effect, deals up to 3d6 structural damage to wooden structures. But I think this was an iron lockbox, the table said, so maybe we're okay. But we got enough XP and stuff off of that to level up, so we're gonna go back to the keep real quick, maybe dump off some treasure, and level up, and then come back out here. So we got 2 more random encounter checks then on our way back, and hopefully we navigate correctly back to the keep. So we're gonna roll our navigation check. We'll set the DC at 12 again. Okay, we got it. So we're gonna go back the way we came here, and we have to roll an encounter for that one. 13 on the unsettled table, which is a dangerous terrain encounter. Okay. Well, at least it's not monsters, right? It is 8, which is rough going. Hex is more difficult to traverse and is typical given the terrain type. There is no particular challenge that can be overcome, nor is there any specific danger or hazard that can be bypassed. It simply is just rough going. All speeds are reduced by half in this hex. Fuck. Now, it says that terrain encounters do not occur if the party is resting / stationary, or if specified they're following a specific route they have already traversed. I think it's a little tricky for us to specify a specific route through this forest, especially because we didn't come exactly through this way. But that's why it helps to have, like, kind of more granularity to your maps, because then you could say, okay, this area you're in now, it's a lot rough going than you expected, and so now, like, this whole section in here is all rough going, like, just kind of thick. You could go back, go out of your way, but no matter what, you're losing time. So basically, that means we're not going to be able to get home tonight, unfortunately. We're going to be, like, at the edge of this hex or something, because we really can only move through the forest 8 miles per day. So we moved, like, 2 miles here, and now this we only moved, like, 4 miles. No, it would be... Oh, God, it would be... half of, say, 3 miles. Yeah, we moved about 3 miles through this hex. So yeah, we're right at, like, the bottom of this F when we have to camp for the night. Did we get any forage, though, in all that rough going? That would be nice. Yes. No. 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 Okay, so we got 3 rations, which means we need to consume 9. Great. Okay, and then our random encounter check for the night is a 4, which is nothing. Awesome. Okay, and then we're going to navigate to the keep. I'm going to say the keep is a big enough landmark that we're not going to get lost. We can see it in the distance now, at least. But we do have to roll a random encounter for this hex, which is a Borderlands hex. I'm declaring. So that means we rolled an 18. It's a valuable terrain encounter. Probably unlikely, but we'll see what it says. A shortcut. Draw a line from the face of the hex the adventurers entered from to the face of the hex the adventurers leave through, along the direction of their travel. When traveling between these faces, the adventurers may treat the hex as having no modifier to travel speed. Okay. So we had some rough going, but then we found a shortcut back home. So now we could use the shortcut to get to like the start of the rough going, and then maybe go a slightly different direction to go around the rough going to the northwest. This is our hope. So something like that. But we made it back home in good time. Yeah. Okay, and then everybody's going to add 1,250 to their XP. 1,250 plus 885. Puts him at 2,135. Okay. The other guys go to 5,553. Okay, and 4,135. Excellent. Level. Okay, this goes to 4,000. This goes to 8,000. Noreen levels up to 2 finally. Hot dog. His new hit points are 2d8. So he's up to 9. Would it have been better to just add a d8 like Shadowdark says? Yes, technically in this instance, but that's also because we break the rules by starting with max hit points. So level 2 is almost never going to be much of a bump for most characters. Yeah, unlikely to be much of a bump for most characters. But it could be more than a 1 bump. But level 3 is probably where it's really going to kick in and be a nice jump. Probably. Yeah, and then that's it for him. So now he's got +7 on his longsword for 1d8 plus 3 damage. He's got 9 hit points. You know, it's not a major impactful level. Fighters, yeah. I mean, a Shadowdark fighter is a boring character, especially at low levels. Because they're just, yeah, you swing good and you hit stuff real good. That's what you do, you know. So I think it's for a kind of a more boring person. I don't know if I'd ever really choose to play as a fighter if I had the chance to play in a Shadowdark campaign. Now, yeah, 3d6 down the line, especially with no swaps, you play what you got. And if you have like 9 dex and you have 16 strength or something, you're probably just gonna be a fighter, and that's what you're gonna be. But yeah, I wouldn't really love it that much. Any of the other classes would be a bit more appealing to me. Alright, Zaphiel levels up to level 3 now. He gets a talent. +1 on spellcasting checks. No surprise there. He gets 3d6 -1. Okay, he's up to 7. Not one of our characters has double-digit hit points. It's rough out here, isn't it? Okay. But he did get another +1 to spellcasting checks, which is nice for Cure Light Injury purpose. That means that his spellcasts, just as an example here, yeah, are +5. So he succeeds on a 6 or higher on Cure Light Injury. Which means, one, two, three, four. Yeah, he has a 25% failure chance, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. But, most importantly, he's going to get a Tier 2 spell now of his choosing. We could pick Cure Moderate Injury. It would double our healing potential for the whole day. And more than that, really, because it's Cure Moderate Injury, so it's slightly better. It's 2d6. We could do that. But if we wanted to make him more generally useful outside of healing, there is a lot of other spells that could be viable. Beguile Humanoid. Pretty good. Holy Blessing. Damn good. Slicing Blow. Although, he would use his Wisdom mod, I guess. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, Slicing Blow's iffy, right? But I guess it's like... Yeah, Kurith there has as good of odds as hitting with Slicing Blow as Scylla does with her bow. You know? So it's sort of fair, I suppose. Yeah, Holy Blessing is hard to beat. Halt Humanoids could be damn good, though. (1d4) living humanoid targets mute and motionless. Each make a paralysis saving throw. Paralyzed for the duration of the spell. Paralyzed creature is helpless and mute. And just as a reminder about helpless, cannot take any actions, is vulnerable, and melee attacks against helpless creatures automatically hit. If the attacker is also not engaged, so it's one-on-one, and his attack is capable of damaging the helpless creature, then they're automatically slain. But you don't get to cleave after doing so it's like a full round thing. But you cannot coup de grace something that's larger than you. But still, you know, they're vulnerable, so you'd get advantage on the attack. It's probably the best bet, so we're going to go with that. Halt Humanoids. Now he's quite a bit more useful. I mean, Holy Blessing is damn good. We'll get that next. Cool. All right, and that's our levels. So that's all we got. We'll spend the night here. We'll assume there's still some food left here from the hobgoblins or the bugbears or something. So we'll eat that up, and the next day we're going to head back out. We'll head along our shortcut, nice and quick, entering that hex. We don't have to roll then for navigation there because we know about the shortcut. But our encounter is a 4, which is nothing. Awesome. So that's normal speed. So we traveled like however many 2 miles or something. Basically, we can get maybe here or a little farther or something like that, assuming we navigate correctly. Let's roll that navigate. You got it. Okay, and the next random encounter, also a 4. Damn, our luck's good. Okay, so we get a little bit farther here, but now we're going to camp out. Did we forage? There probably is a button or a way or a module or something to have everyone roll the same check. And I can just press one button. But no, nobody foraged, so that's another 12 rations. Down to 18. Just 3 slots. Okay. Our random encounter at night is a 6. Also nothing. Wow, it's like this place is just evacuated. New day. Let's get a navigation check. Got it. Okay, we're gonna go into this hex. And random encounter check. 2. I think that's also nothing. It is. Holy shit. Okay, awesome. And now the last navigation check. Fuck. I'm gonna luck token it. I'd really rather not get lost here. There we go. Okay, so we end up there. Random encounter check. Also nothing. Wow. We didn't encounter a single living creature on the way to this place. That's ominous. Alright, so now we know that it's in this valley. We've spent the whole day here. Or getting here. So we have about 4 hours to try to search this valley to find the entrance. So we... this is where it gets a little tricky. I remember that for Tales of Argosa, we did it based on if you had wilderness lore or not. I think. But here with Shadowdark, I'm not quite sure. I am tempted to add the Explorer class as like a 5th class, because the core classes for Axe are the Fighter, the Thief, the Mage, the Crusader, and then the Explorer and the Venturer. And the Venturer is like the Merchant class, which is really wild. Of 6 core classes, that's one of them. But then, yeah, the Explorer is similar to a Fighter. They're basically a Fighter-Thief. They don't have any of the thief skills as far as pick locks and stealth and all that, but they get bonuses on initiative and they get bonuses to avoid surprise, and they get a lot of bonuses for like navigating the wilderness and finding stuff, like searching, like this specifically sort of thing. They're also can use up to like medium weapons and medium armor. I think they're a D6 hit die though. Yeah, so it's like, it's a little redundant, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not doing much wilderness stuff and you're just doing all dungeons, they're not that good. Like, you'd probably rather have a thief or a fighter instead. But yeah, specifically for this, I'm just not sure how I would... I guess there's backgrounds. Maybe if you have some sort of wilderness background, it could apply here. But he was a seer's apprentice. She was an herbalist. Maybe. He was a messenger, and he was a fallen nobleman. Yeah. Yeah. Unless I want to give it to elves, but we don't really want to double down on any racial traits. Even though, considering how good human is, I feel like all the other ancestries could benefit from an extra little bonus. Let's see, like dwarves, you could give a bonus for like detecting metal or recognizing... I mean, it's basically all the stuff you'd normally consider. Dwarves would get a bonus on like stonework or masonry checks or anything related to that. Elves would get a bonus for searching the wilderness or maybe foraging. Or foraging, I guess. Goblins, I'd probably give them shadowy senses as a free trait that they share with thieves. Half orcs, good question. Maybe I'd give them the rage trait or something from the gnolls, possibly. And then halflings. Hmm. I'm not sure about halflings exactly. Of what I'd give them a bonus to or something like that. I don't know. Something. I'm sure someone has already gone along and redone all these. But yeah, other than that, it's like, I don't know how else you decide how a character's good other than your backgrounds, which is just, especially with a D100 list, it's a fucking crapshoot that's either like really unlikely or people just have to stretch their explanation of how it applies to this. Like the herbalist, she spent a lot of time picking herbs out in the wilderness, so she's good at searching for stuff. Yeah, I guess. Technically, I did change this thief section to say thievery add listening and searching. So I guess if you count this as a thievery thing of searching, but I don't think that's really where her expertise lies. So it would more be the herbalist explanation. But I don't know. I mean, would I allow that if I was DMing? God, it's pretty fringe. It's pretty... Probably not. Probably not. Okay, so if we assume no benefits of any kind, they have to succeed on a 17 or higher, which is what a lot of probably axe groups would have to succeed on. Since a lot of groups wouldn't have the tracking proficiency. And even the example, they say, doesn't have the tracking proficiency. Oh, and it is modified for this being... Well, we're not saying this is a forest. This is a valley we're in. So, it's hills, but I think that's the same penalty. Yeah, it's 2/3. But, oh, so it actually would be an 18 or higher. Okay. And we have to roll a random encounter check for each one. Yeah, alright. It's gonna be rough. Okay then. 18 or higher. Nope. We got close. Here's our random encounter check. 12. That is a monster encounter. Rarity is 11. Which is uncommon. We are now in the hills. Any. Uncommon. It is an 87, which is Strix. So Sturges. Stingbats, or whatever they're called in Shadowdark. Okay. Well, we could stumble onto their lair. That is a possibility. And it's a nocturnal predator. It's not quite nighttime yet, so we'll see. They have 40% chance of lair. There is a cat in front of my screen. Again, as always, there is never not a cat in front of my screen. But no, we didn't encounter their lair. So what would they be? Why would they be out and about when it's not nighttime? Perhaps spooked by something. Yeah, maybe the hobgoblins upset him. Oh, that could be they're flying out of the temple then. And that could lead us to it. Okay, I mean, we can do something with that, right? I mean, it's plausible. It's plausible. Do I want to just say that's the case, or do I want to try to roll? I guess an oracle would be the best bet, right? Did these Strix come from the temple? Yes, excellent. All right, then let's get an encounter distance roll based on hills. which is hills forested. Yeah, we'll do with that. Well, I guess that's sort of a forest then, but not quite. But sure, 5d8 times 3 feet. Okay, that's 87 feet. So a pretty good distance then. And then a reaction roll. Yeah, no modification here. Okay, pretty negative. So they're agitated, they're angry, and they are probably going to assail our group. There are 3d12 of them. 25. Okay. That's a lot. It's a lot of Strix. There might be a Sunflare coming out here. There's no foreknowledge on either side. They just burst out of the thing like 90 feet away from us. So our surprise roll, not surprised. They are surprised. Okay, so we just, this massive cloud of Sturges just suddenly poops out of the side of a hill in a big angry screeching ball and starts barreling towards us. So Kurathair is gonna drop the tack nuke. I mean, we still have daylight, it still counts. Why wouldn't I? Excellent. Okay, and there's 25 of them. Is there really? I rolled pretty high then. I did roll pretty high, yeah. Because the average of that would be like 18 or 19. Okay, 25. Let's go to the... Yeah, I would imagine they have a +0 or a +1. If I had to just guess a number for a Stingbat. It's +2. Wow. Okay, +2. So, how many am I hitting here? In a 20-foot diameter, cylinder? Probably quite a lot, I would imagine. I'm gonna roll 3d12 again. Alright, I get 18 of them in the effect. So I'm gonna roll 18 d20. And any of them that are 17 or higher take half damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 of them are going to take half of this. It's 3d6. I don't think it matters the half, but I had to... Yeah, they're all dead. So he just roasted 18 of them and shook the whole valley. It's just like, oh, there goes Kurathair again with his fucking Sunflare. He's never going to get tired of it. It is a really powerful thing to be able to cast multiple times per day at this point. I mean, it's just kind of a powerful thing in general. Like, if we get into a battle out on a battlefield, I'm dropping Sunflares left and right. It's crazy. Okay, but then the rest of us... Yeah, I mean, they were about 90 feet away. So he could cast that, but there's not much else the rest of us can do. I could try to infuriate a beast. There's 7 left. I'm going to try to infuriate a beast just for fun. He got it. Okay. I don't think he can really succeed on that. He'd have to crit on the save. No. Okay, so one of them is infuriated. And is going to start attacking any of the other ones nearby. Scylla, I guess, could shoot. I think she actually is going to take a penalty, but she'll move forward, and Noreen will move forward with her. So she gets advantage on this with a backstab. She missed. Awesome. And that's it. And then Noreen is just kind of preparing an attack in case we don't win initiative. All right, our initiative is +0. Theirs is +2. Ours is 5. Theirs is 7. So they're going to charge towards us. What's their movement rate? 120 fly speed. So yes, They are going to surround Noreen and Scylla. Except for that one that's going to try to lash out at a Sturge near him. So he's going to just attack. He rolls... Technically, he rolls with a -1 based on this, but I don't think Shadowdark ever does that. So we'll just roll a d20 against one of his fellow bugs. That's a hit. And it's going to do 1d3 damage. If he does 2 or 3, that thing is dead. Yep, it's dead. So that one's just like feasting on that other one. So really there's only 5 here. So we'll put 3 on Noreen, 2 on Scylla. But Noreen gets to attack one of them on a prepared attack. I don't think you can cleave off of a prepared attack. Yeah, I think you can cleave off an attack, actually. That's really powerful, then. Because he could cleave right now. And then on his turn, he can attack again and cleave again on anything that he, kills. So yeah, Biter is pretty nasty, especially... like the person charging him gets advantage. I think, we rule it where... I think we ruled it... So here, a ready to attack may be considered a countercharge if the opponent whose action is interrupting took a charge movement action. If so, the combatant gets a +2 bonus on attack throw and on subsequent cleaves, and deals impact damage if eligible to do so, but he becomes disordered until the start of his next initiative segment. Okay. So if you're charged at, and you've got a ready to action to attack anything that comes in range, you can call it a countercharge if you want. In which case, you'd get advantage on your attack roll. Because we're converting a +2 to advantage for charging. But you become you have disadvantage. The enemies have advantage against you until your turn. But if you have a polearm, spear, or other weapon capable of dealing impact, you are then set for the charge. Which means you get to add impact damage for the weapon, but you don't get to have advantage or have advantage against you. So you have to choose. Basically, if you have a ready to action with a spear, you get impact damage no matter what. You get to add an extra die of damage no matter what. It's just whether or not you want to have advantage or not. Okay, anyways. They didn't charge. I'm not going to say they charged. So he's just got a ready to action. He's going to swing. Which is just going to be a normal swing. Okay, it's a big normal kill, though. So that drops him down to 4. He can cleave again. He does. That drops him down to 3. And now he can actually cleave a second time for 3 total kills, maybe. He does. He drops him down to 2. So all the ones that charged at him, he just cleaved through in one glorious swing of his sword. Excellent. The other 2 are going to harass Scylla, though, and she was not readied. So this is +0. One of them hits for 1d3. 3 damage to her, and it's now latched onto her face. Or neck, or whatever. But now it's our initiative. Perthair is going to try to magic missile that. That is a pretty big bummer, I gotta say, but I don't think we'll use a luck token. Yeah, I don't think there's any special rules for attacking this thing while it's on her. As far as, like, AC bonus or a risk of hitting her. I mean, I think there is a risk of hitting her on a 1. But that's about it. So he's not going to miss. Crit. Excellent. There you go. There's your luck token back. All right, obliterated. And then there's one left over there that's feasting on its buddy. Norin will just take care of that, no problem. Yeah, there you go. All right, so we killed 16 Sturges. No, 25 Sturges. Which is a nice little pack of 150 XP. Cool. And we have found the location. It's getting kind of late. We have about 3 hours of daylight left at this point. So I guess we could go in. All right, yeah. So we're gonna have the crew post up near this entrance, not too close to it. Somewhere tucked up in the trees in the hills nearby. Maybe, like, you know, a few minutes away. And God be with them as we descend down into the depths. Although we should probably heal Scylla. Nice. Back to full. Okay, and he's gonna cast Illumination on Norin's shield. Fuck. He rolled a mishap. Okay, we might not be going down after all. Discorporation. One random piece of your gear disappears forever. Awesome. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 10. 11. His rope disappears. Fuck. And we lost illumination. So you're going to have to light up the torch. Well, let's head down. Finally made it. Okay. Danger level here is safe. Hobgoblins have secured this area. If they're killed, this area will become unsafe in 2 days. Total darkness in all areas. Doesn't really make much sense. They've secured this area. They're like sparring together in pitch darkness, the entire area. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I disagree with your assessment. They have lightless vision 30 feet. Which is nice, but that's not quite the same as having light. Can see form or movement in total darkness out to a listed range. Counts as dim light, so cannot be used to discern writing or find details, and permits characters to hide. Thus, monsters might still need a light source for some tasks. Yeah, I don't think they'd be in pitch dark. That's not how we run things. So that's it. So the total is a warband of 8 goblins. So they sent the bulk of their number over to take our keep, and we killed them all. So now there's only 8 remaining. Well, in rooms 1 through 5, there might be Probably not. Okay. Oh, we should probably get this map in game. I like that he added his own image to the map. I don't want to see that. Why is that in there? Why did he put that there? All right, hold on. User does not have permission to upload files. Oh, I see. Yes. No? What? Okay, I definitely do have permission to upload files. Okay, I might have to close out of a Foundry then. Okay, there we go. I don't want lighting. Okay, good. Good. Let's draw over Chubby Funster's face because I don't need that. Really? That was your... Oh, opacity. There you go. There you go. Unless I can match this color somehow. Okay, nice. We can pretend it was never there. Look at that. Boom, baby! Sorry, Chubby. Okay, yes, right. I need my characters again now. Noreen, Kurathair, Scylla, Zaphiel. Alright. And room number 1 is here. And there's a statue in the middle. There's a statue of a man with a morning star. The floor consists of stonework with clumps of red clay and boot prints. Walls are also stonework with ribbons of black lichen. The man's in a defiant stance, wearing a leopard pelt around his waist and holding a morning star aloft. There's a wooden door to the north. There's a wooden door to the east. There's stairs to the south. With I guess a higher quantity of boot prints that way. And there's a faint smell of urine in the air. Okay, we're going to send Scylla to the south stairs along the wall to creep over and see what's over there. So that's going to be number 3. Yeah, so as she goes closer, the smell of urine and feces grows very strong. The floor is covered in red clay and thick brown mud, sparkling from moisture. Walls are streaked with dark liquid stains. There is a hobgoblin lying in ambush here, with an unbuckled belt and no shield. So he was on the pot when he heard us come in. We were not silent, but Scylla could be pretty silent, so she's gonna have to roll stealth. Whoops. Yeah, that's good enough. That's fine. Versus his wisdom of like +1. Okay, so he does not hear her approach, so he's kind of just waiting in ambush for something. She doesn't know that he's there either. So neither of them have foreknowledge. And she is eventually going to... Well, he might make a sound, though. He might not be totally silent either. So this is where I'd probably have her roll a wisdom with just a flat DC to sort of represent like that kind of 2 and 6 sort of thing. So 2 and 6 would be a 33% chance of success. She has advantage though, but we'll set the DC at 15. Okay, so she doesn't hear him. She's then gonna go creep around the corner, and then they become sort of face to face. And now we roll surprise. We both have to roll surprise, but he has to roll with disadvantage. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so her roll for surprise, she's not surprised. His roll, he is surprised. Okay, so... And then she just suddenly thrusts out her dagger at him. Oh, no, sorry. No. Okay, well, it was at least a 17, but I didn't roll correct damage. Okay, there you go. 10 damage. So she, like, and then she just stabs him in the neck. And down goes the hobgoblin. So they only have, like, 5 hit points. Okay. Slumps over dead with his pants unbuckled. Okay, and they all hear this sort of, and then, and they rush over, and there she be. Job done. Well, that worked out. There's nothing really here. It's a shitty ass shit room. There's a wooden bucket and a soup ladle in the corner. What are they doing with the soup ladle? Oh my god! All right. Anyways, we do get 15 XP for that guy. Check his pockets, but he doesn't really have anything. We do have to check now. Random encounter. Oh no, it's safe here. There's no chance of random encounters. The hobgoblins never move ever. They're not even on the thing. So yeah, the hobgoblins don't move unless they hear something. So, all right, we're gonna go check the other doors then. We hear sound of combat coming from the east door. We will listen at the north door. DC 12. Okay, nice. So she does hear snoring on the other side. And she lets them know there's sounds of combat to the east. We may as well let that play out. And snoring to the north. We could have Scylla try to sneak in. Stab him in the neck, sort of thing. Or we could kick in the door and rain on their goddamn parade. Scylla's been doing a lot of work, so we'll kick in the door. Which is good because when Norin goes to check the door, or when Scylla checked the door, maybe, she saw it was a bit stuck. So he's going to have to bash through. So he has advantage on strength to bash. I don't know if there's a baseline for a stuck door in Shadowdark. Yep, it's 12. Okay. So he's got to roll 12 with advantage because he has grit. He's got it. So he bursts into the room, and they are, yeah. We know they're in there. They didn't know we were out here, so they have to roll for surprise. And I do believe they have to roll for surprise. What the... Okay. They have to roll for surprise. Let's see, 4 now in line of sight. Okay, no penalties or anything. They just roll a 1 or a 2. They are surprised. Man, we're getting some lucky rolls here. All right, very nice. So there are 2 armored figures waking up. So they slept in their armor? And this says they rise as soon as the doors open. Surprise. So they will. This is just saying they're automatically surprised, but we don't run it like that. I also wouldn't have them sleeping in their armor either. So, you know, go figure. Also, we need to pick down the torch by one at this point. All right, but we got him by surprise. Scylla's gonna shoot off a round. Okay, just absolutely doming one of them. Norin is going to run at the other one. And, yeah, slaughters him. No problem. We do outlevel this dungeon a little bit. At least this first area, for sure. But I'll take my 30 XP. Thank you very much. Okay, we are going to search the sleeping quarters. So that's another torch. We find a crude map of the surrounding area drawn in white chalk. Nearby villages are circled and marked with notes in Goblin. No guard spotted, stupid farmer, and do not return. Okay, there's probably also the keep on the map as well. We also see a satchel that was being used as a pillow for one of the hobgoblins. It says it allows wearers to carry an additional gear slot. Contains 32 silver, 81 copper, 3 sticks of chalk, and a fishing net with 10 small stone weights attached. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't all be treasure, right? Well, the additional gear slot thing, I don't know if I really agree with. Because it's just a satchel. So that suggests to everybody, it's like, okay, well, why can't we all just buy satchels and bags and sacks and just slap that all over and we get additional gear slots? So I don't like that. The only exception really is going to be like a bag of holding or some sort of magical item. And I did give a bag of holding. I think they found one or something like that. My group that I run for got a bag of holding. And I think I ran it basically like the axe bag of holding, or the bottomless bag, I think they call it. Where it's basically, you can add items to it of like pretty much like really big size. Like it can accommodate a lot of stuff. It can hold stuff up to 6 stone or 6 slots, and it counts as up to 6 slots. So if you stuff it full of that much stuff, you're carrying an extra 6 slot item. Beyond that, though, it will not increase the number of slots you have to carry, and it can hold up to 100 slots of shit. I thought that was fairly well balanced. If you wanted to do it differently and make it more simple, it's just like, yeah, you have a bag of holding, just increase your number of slots by 5. But that's a little too simple and abstracted, because I do want them to be conscientious of what's in the bag and what's not in the bag and things like that, you know, because it is a unique bag. So, but if you wanted to simplify it, I think plus 5 slots or something is probably the way to go. I imagine that's not in. Oh, there is a bag of holding. Oh, look at that. Can hold up to 10 gear slots. Okay, wow. So my version was really nerfed. Well, I mean, the simple version I said. But that's by the one I gave them, the axe version is a lot better. But yeah. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the axe version. Also, placing this item inside another bag of holding or portable hold destroys both items and all held inside them. I think it does a lot more than that. Doesn't it like tear a hole in reality or something like that? Like it's kind of crazy. Yeah, anyways. So yeah, I don't want to do a satchel though. 32 silver, 81 copper. If we just did a direct conversion, that's 32 gold, 81 silver. I don't think that's unreasonable, so I'm inclined to just take that. Then 3 sticks of chalk, which is basically nothing, no slots, and could be useful for some purpose. And then a fishing net with 10 small stone weights attached. That's probably not 0 slots. Fishing net is 2 slots. Specifically for too heavy and unwieldy to use in combat. Clever adventurer can think of many alternative ways to use this item to their advantage, particularly as a trap component. Or to catch fish. But do I want to give 2 slots up on something that might be useful? Well, yeah, I mean, we can't use it in combat, which suggests that it's just not an option to say, in combat, I throw the fishing net over the guy. It's just too unwieldy for that. It's too big. So it'd have to be a trap that we set up that drops onto somebody or something like that. But, yeah, I could see maybe there being a use for that. So we'll have Kurith there carry it. He's got nothing else going on. Alright, we'll give Scylla the charge. She's just like the item monkey that has all the fun little stuff. This is going to be 0 slots. Chalk. And then she'll also take the gold. 32 gold, 81 silver. Except that's going to put her above a slot for coins because of their stupid 100 coin system that's just outrageous. Alright, then 81 silver over here. Okay. XP then, that's basically 40. Not much. But that's times 10. They would give 1 XP. He would give 1 XP for that, which seems like I wouldn't, if I was running Shadowdark by the rules, I would never give 1 XP for this. I feel like that's way too minor. He's saying that's worth 1/10 of a level. Like from level 1 to 2, that would be 1/10 of it. So in our system, 1/10 of level 1 to 2 would be 200 gold. And that's why I don't think this is great. If this was 20 gold or 32 gold, you know, then yes, I'd say 1 XP. But otherwise, no, that's too generous, I think. All right, so now we're going to go investigate the other room, the Sound of Combat. So we don't have to roll to hear this. We hear it. But it sounds like kind of metal on metal sort of thing. It doesn't sound like there's many combatants, and it sounds kind of almost rhythmic, you know? Like it sounds like a regular kind of sound. Like it doesn't sound like a brawl, like a real melee or something. So I think we'd probably recognize that it does sound like sparring, which isn't surprising. We're in a hobgoblin sort of lair. It's not outrageous. Let me think. I feel like Scylla does have some potential here for an ambush. I think it's reasonable if the door opens, they will take a look. If she's operating on her own, though, they get disadvantage on being surprised, which would give her fairly good odds of firing off a shot. If, however, they're not surprised and they win initiative, they probably will charge at her and she could just drop. So there is a risk here. The safer bet is what we just did. We kick down the door and charge in together. We don't have the, they don't give them the disadvantage on surprise. Chances are they're not going to be surprised. But it's a safer bet. So fuck it, that's what we'll do. Alright, he kicks down the door. We burst into another room. Hobgoblins stare at us like deer in the headlights. They roll their d6. They are not surprised. I'm going to roll a separate roll, though, for the guy on the ground with a -1. Just because the module does say that he would be surprised. And, although, yeah, I didn't give an extra roll to the sleeping one. Like, they probably should have had a -1 or a disadvantage or something like that due to sleeping. Yeah, I should have given them a -1. Alright, I'm gonna give this guy -1, though. He's lounging, he's caught completely unaware. He rolled a 1, so that guy is surprised. Scylla's gonna take care of him, no problem. Yeah, he's gone. As he leans up and like, oh! Arrow in the neck. Norin then is gonna charge at the other two that are not surprised, but he's gonna charge, cuts off one head, does a cool Jedi spin move, and cuts off the other one's head. Yeah, man. He's got fucking +7 on his roll. That's really high. I mean, this is like D&D 5e numbers, but the enemies do not have D&D 5e hit points. What would a level 1 or 2 fighter in D&D 5e have? You'd have +5 on, say, his battle axe for 1d8 +3 damage. Okay. That's fine. I imagine that's not too uncommon then. Yeah, +5. Ignoring the 2d6 sort of damage and stuff like that. 1d6 or 1d10. Not that far off, but yeah, +5. Okay, and then a level 2 guy. How much does he bump up? He's still at +5 at level 2. Right, so we're ahead of a 5e character with a +7 already. Crazy. And our damage is like identical. Except if we look at a D&D 5e Hobgoblin, let's see how much hit points they have. 11. So they have more than double. And 18 fucking AC. So the D&D 5e guy would have to roll a 13 or higher. So less than 50% chance. Like a 40% chance to hit. And then he would have to max roll his damage with a 1d8 +3 to kill a hobgoblin in one shot. Meanwhile, Noreen against our hobgoblins has to roll a 6 or higher, giving him a 75% chance to hit. And he only has to roll 2 or higher on his damage. Yeah. So he only fails to kill a hobgoblin on a damage roll of 1. That's the difference we're talking about. So that's great. I mean, because, yeah. Things are lethal. Now, granted, Noreen himself could die fairly easily, but he does have 20 AC now. I think... Yes, a hobgoblin hitting him could not drop him in one shot without a crit. So yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. Noreen was a good choice, good addition to the team. All right, we butchered him. That's another 45 XP. Not like we're getting much out of this, but hey, it's fun. Alright, the floor is a bit sticky in this sparring room. Scattered blood and vomit stains. There's a small pile with 13 gold and a cheap copper ring, which will change to a cheap gold ring worth 30 gold. We will pocket that. Okay. So that's 43 more XP. Probably just combine all these numbers into 128. It's not really good to do that, though, because if I lose the ring or I give it up or something like that, I have to remember, like, I should probably label all my XP so I know where it all came from. Usually it doesn't matter, but sometimes it does, like when you gave up those coins previously. Alright, so I guess we'll search this room more extensively, because that's what we do. And then we go over here. Scylla creeps over by that door. She hears sounds of boxes being moved on the other side. Okay, so she hears what sounds like probably more hobgoblins moving around boxes. Alright, fuck it. We'll kick in another door. All of these are like, there's so many hobgoblins to start treating as surprised. Because technically, I think these at least would get a listen roll. Unless we say that the sound of their box moving and stuff, they're making too much noise to really hear. Which is probably the case. Because we're trying to be stealthy. So you'd have to be listening pretty intently in a quiet area to hear some sounds through a wooden door. So, yeah, they wouldn't. But that's why that guy shitting on the pot over there, he got a listen roll because he was actively trying to listen. Most characters don't get like a passive listen. You know, including our own characters. You have to be actively like trying to hear something in a quiet area. Alright, let's kick in another door, baby. That's what we're all about. He barely does it, but he does it. Alright, they're moving boxes. It says to treat them as surprised. We're not going to do that, but I am going to give them a -1 because they might have boxes in their hands at the moment, so they're not quite prepared for battle. So this is going to be, they need a 4 or higher. They did. So we happen to catch them right in the moment where they weren't carrying boxes, and their weapons were close at hand. So we get into it. Their initiative is +2, I think, if I recall. Wish my memory was locked up, but it's not. Nope, they have a +0 for hobgoblins. Same as us. Our initiative is a 2. Theirs is a 4. They are going to then go attack Noring. Fuck it, they're going to charge him. So they get +2 to the roll. With advantage. First one misses. Second one misses. Alright, and now we punish. Noring gets advantage on them because they charged. That is not a kill, so he does not get a cleave. Damn. Alright. Zaphiel is going to... He did roll a 26, though, so he's going to knock him on his ass. Scylla will come over and just stab him in the liver or something. Yeah, alright, he's dead. Zaphiel will try to bonk the other one on the head. Miss. Kurathair, I'm wary about wasting a spell, but I guess we'll use Slicing Blow. Okay, success. And I suppose if we wanted to be a bit more fair, we could just use that as the... We could use that as the attack roll as well. So if the spellcasting check beats the AC, it hits. Otherwise, it misses. I guess that's probably fair, right? Because it's basically, if I make it an int roll, it's just like a second chance to fail. Which Axe doesn't have. Granted, we can keep casting this many times, so maybe it should. But this does incorporate additional, from like bonuses from spellcasting checks and stuff. Because he gets to roll +5 instead of +4. It also simplifies the system a bit. I guess probably I can go with that. Okay. Because it's sort of like how we use the spellcasting check for enemies to roll against for saves. So it's combining as much as we can into the one spellcasting check for each spell. Alright, fine. So it hits for 1d10. He does 4 damage, so this guy has 1 hit point. Now we roll initiative again. Ours is 2. Theirs is 4. This guy's probably going to... He's going to roll morale, 100%, yes. He fails. Pretty sure. Yep, he fails by 1. There's really nowhere to go. We're blocking the exit out, and the boxes are crowding the other doors. So he's just going to surrender. He's going to throw down his weapon. He's like, you know, does he speak common? No. He almost does. But no, he does not. So he's just going to throw down his weapon and just like put his hands up. And he's going to start sort of, you know, whining in Hobgoblin. Do we give him Quarter? I don't really see why we would. Maybe Zaphiel would argue that we should. And then everyone's like, yeah, but he's a hobgoblin. He's an evil creature. They would kill us without even thinking about it. They'd slaughter us. They're evil. Let's just kill them and move on. Quit being such a doofus asshole. Let's just kill this guy. Come on. I think it's likely we opt to kill him because it's 3 against 1. Probably. I haven't really fleshed out their personalities at all. I just assume the cleric has an issue with it. So do we kill him? Advantage? Yes, we do. Okay, so Norin decapitates him. So that gives us another 30 XP. Alright, let's spend another torch then as we peruse this room. So, scattered around the room are 9 rations, which can be created from bits of dried meat and nuts. So I suppose we'll take the time to do that. Norin can add, we'll just take 7 rations, because I'm not too picky. There's a silver trade bar worth 500 gold. Yeah, that's where we have to now say that doesn't make any sense. If we say it's a silver trade bar, and we say it's an ingot, and we say there's probably 5 of them. 5 silver trade bars, each one's a slot. So it's a lot more space consuming, unfortunately, but it is 500 gold, which is not a small amount at this point in our careers. So we probably do want to take this. We certainly can. You know, it's going to fill us up. We could probably carry these back out to the cart, though. I think we're going to do that. So we're going to leave after we gather this all up. And I'll just add it to one of these donkeys. It's 5 silver ingots, 100 GP each. Okay, that puts donkey 2 at 13. There's 6 bottles of weak alcohol worth 50 gold pieces each. That's, again, it's just like kind of stretching your credulity there. This would have to be some nicer alcohol than that, that's for damn sure. I think we can re-roll that on the treasure table for Shadowdark. Something in the 50 range. Gold monkey idol. Yeah, yeah. Gold monkey idol with a ruby gripped in its teeth. You think they added all these treasures? No. Okay. I only asked because that was from the official book, so I thought maybe they added all the treasure tables. All right, we're gonna what was it? Gold monkey idol. Worth 60 GP. Okay. And what else? 2 oil flasks. This would be common oil. We don't have a lot of use for it. So we'll leave it. I mean, I could say it's military oil, but we'll leave it. Alright, then our XP for that room was 60 plus 500 is 560. Pretty solid. There's also some tools stacked here. A slightly bent handsaw, a nice set of feminine leather gloves, and some iron blacksmith's tongs. Not that these are bad. I don't think I need any right now. Maybe the handsaw could be useful, but I don't know. There's enough wood here to fashion 3 torches, so we'll replace the one that I'm using right now in my pack. And then we have 2 doors once we move all the boxes. There's a bloody handprint on the eastern door, and it's locked. The southern door is warped and swollen shut. Both of those are kind of ominous, I gotta say. I guess we'll have Scylla listen at the eastern door and see if we hear anything. So that's 6A. Danger level here is now unsafe. Make a check every 3 rounds or whenever a loud noise is made. Total darkness in all areas, except room 17 during the day. That I more agree with. This is now going to be monstrous areas, so yes. I'm in agreement with your darkness. No, we don't. I mean, I could roll, but it doesn't matter. We don't hear anything. All right, then we're gonna go that way. We're gonna head into 6A with Noreen leading the way. The stonework here is contains thick droplets of sticky mucus-like substance. A decent chunk of the ceiling has fallen and lies near the south end. There's frenzied scratches on the lower quarter of this side of the door. There's a thin coating of the mucus-like substance. The south door is wood, warped and swollen shut. Faint smell of urine and vomit, and the stone chunk on the floor crushing a hobgoblin boot, still full of rotting flesh. So the mucus-like substance suggests there's some sort of ooze or something around, so we're going to be very vigilant on the ceiling at the very least. At least one character is going to keep an eye on the ceiling as we go. We're not going to go through the door. We're going to go around, continue on the hallway. So we have a line of sight now on 6B and 7. Okay. So 6B is basically the same sort of thing. There's a door. There's a couple doors here. There's a corpse of a hobgoblin that's been ripped apart into 3 sections. Most of the meat and soft tissue has been consumed, covered in a thin layer of a mucus-like substance. Jeez. There's a chipped and bent longsword here, spotted in greenish-white stains with a foul odor. And a strong smell of urine. Yeah. Questionable. More concerning, though, to the north, there's a greenish-white insectoid cocoon in the center of the room. Would we attack this thing from a distance? I wouldn't be surprised if we did, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we tell Kurathair to just fan of flames that shit. Nothing good will come from a cocoon. And it's best we destroy it now before it hatches in front. Because, you know, like, as a D&D player, you know that if you go in that room, the cocoon is going to burst open, right? Like, that's just, like, one of those genre knowledge kind of things. In real life, maybe you'd go in and it would just be a cocoon. And it would just sit there for, you know, however much longer until whatever. But we know how these things work. We walk in there and it bursts open. Or it's empty, in which case you have no harm in destroying it with fire. So let's destroy it with fire. We have 40-foot range on this, so I assume he said, yeah, 10 feet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if he goes about here, he can reach it. Fan of flames. Critical failure. Okay, luck token that shit, I'm afraid. Critical success. There's your luck token back. Thank you. Thank you for letting me borrow it. Okay, well, 2d8 damage is pretty good. I don't even know if it can save. No, it didn't. So it's going to take 2d8 damage. It's a cave creeper with a powerful mutation, +2 AC, and an extra attack per round. I'm not sure. I know what a cave crawler is. Did you mean the same thing? Sort of. It's heavily nerfed, though. Okay, I imagine Axe has an actual cave crawler or something like that. Yes. So it looks horrible, right? Looks just disgusting. It's 4 feet tall, 9 feet long. It's massive. But the real danger with one of these things is that it gets 8 attacks per round. Each one does 1 damage only, but you have to save against paralysis. Otherwise, you become paralyzed for 2d4 turns. They're one of the most sort of dangerous things for lower level characters in the game. It's legendary. Cave creepers from Shadowdark, on the other hand, they have 18 hit points. They can bite for +3 for 1d6 damage, or they can use tentacles once for 1d8 damage plus a DC 12 con check, or paralyzed for 1d4 rounds. It's like you're like, oh man, they've just been neutered. Utterly neutered. So yeah, fuck that. We're fighting a carrion horror and it's nasty. It has 15 hit points. Yep. 15 hit points. But it's about to have a lot less, isn't it? Because it's about to take 2d8 damage. Okay, well, not much less. That was a low roll. Still, we roasted it. Now, technically, I should have had to roll surprise, but it was in the cocoon. There is no option there, you know. It gets roasted and it bursts out, and now we just go straight into initiative. We don't always have to roll for surprise for certain situations. But all right. Shadowdark says that their dex is +2. I'll abide by that. Our initiative is 5. His is 3. We get to go again. I'm going to slice him below it. No, I don't want to waste spells. Norin's just going to charge at it. Try to put an end to it before it can do anything. And we did. It's dead. Okay. We get 170 XP. His attack rolls are just stupidly good. Which means he can Mighty Deed anything he doesn't kill, but he kills like everything he hits, so it's just crazy. Especially with the charge rule I implemented. Charge plus cleave. I have to make these encounters harder. Too easy. Okay, well that was simple, I suppose. We're still in the easy section of this dungeon. See, it said if they get within near distance. I was 40 feet away, not 30 feet. We were good. The goo at the bottom of the expended cocoon contains 14 silver pieces and a tiger's eye agate gemstone worth 25 gold. I don't know why. Why does it have to be in the goo at the bottom of the cocoon? Why can't it just be like in a pile next to it or something? Or like on a corpse nearby that it fed on? Yeah, I don't know why. Why would it even be in the goo at the bottom of the cocoon? Are they known for going into cocoons? And is that something that happens? I don't think so. So blasphemous were his babblings, they spawned abominations not even the mother of monsters could abide. Yeah, not even the mother of monsters would make something this horrible. Okay, so it's basically meant to be, so 250 gold would be the adjusted value plus 14 gold. I mean, 250 gold for a gem is just a little, it's not unacceptable. I mean, players would be like, oh shit, nice. And actually, Barrow Maze, oh my god. Running parts of, like, early parts of Barrow Maze, players find gems easily worth like 500, 750, 1,000 gold. I think they found a gem worth like 1,200 gold. So yeah, I mean, they don't give a shit. So I think this being worth 250 gold is not outrageous at all. Okay, and we found 14 gold. Spread the love across everybody. And then that's 264 gold. Or XP. Good. I think we can erase this all now. We're done with this. Okay. Torch goes down. There is a portcullis lowered, covered in heavy rust to the north. Strength versus DC 12 to raise up. Strength versus DC 15 to smash through permanently. Both options are very loud. Roll for random encounter. Oh yeah, I should have been rolling for random encounters. Okay, let me roll. We're fine. Okay, so we can hold it up. Or we can just smash it down. Both options are very loud. Smashing through is a harder check. But it would be one and done. If we fail, it's not one and done, but he won't fail. He's Norring. He succeeds at everything he tries. So fuck it, we're just gonna smash through. Yeah, he succeeds. Random encounter check, we're fine. Nothing's around. Okay, and then we burst into this 8th room. There's a statue of a man with outstretched arms standing on a raised dais. The floor is covered in a thick layer of dust, littered with broken weapons. Walls are dusty, and there's a faint smell of sulfur or brimstone. Uh-oh. Floor contains hundreds of broken weapons that are all unusable. If collected and sold for scrap, yields 1 gold piece per gear slot carried. That is not worth it to anyone. Up to 16 gear slots can be collected by a determined party. Jeez. The man in the statue is in a triumphal stance, wearing a leopard pelt around his waist, and holding out his hands as if to receive a gift. We don't have any magical weapons. We've never picked one up. So, we also don't have really any spare weapons except that Kurathair has a spare dagger. That would be the only thing we'd risk. I don't have any other spares. So he's gonna... Yeah, I think he would. He's never used the dagger once, so fuck it. He'll just put the dagger in the statue. I mean, from the looks of it, it's probably just gonna break it or something, but maybe we get a benefit. It is instantly broken. While the weapon is left on the floor in this room, the gift giver gains +1 to attack undead creatures with melee weapons. However, they also lose 1 point of maximum hit points. If the weapon is removed from this room by anyone, both effects will end. Well, I don't want either of those things. So, I don't know exactly how I would indicate much of this to players or something like that. I don't know how I'd run it. But he certainly lost a dagger. I mean, he would feel weaker. I mean, there's no way to hide 1 less point of max hit points, right? So he would feel weaker now that that happened. Would he keep the dagger, though? Would he realize that taking the dagger out of this room would help him? Would he think to just say, fuck the dagger and just leave it? And like, oh my god, this was... I think he'd probably just be like, well, that sucks. Like, I did this and now I lost a max hit point. You know? Yeah, I think most people would just take that as like that was the effect that happened. That he now has permanent +1 to attack undead creatures with melee weapons and 1 less max hit point. Most these things usually are not like temporary and tied to a specific item in a specific location like that. So I think it's unlikely, but I will roll an oracle with disadvantage. Okay, no, he does not think to remove the weapon. And neither does anyone else. So the dagger's gone. He's never going to benefit from the plus part. He just lost 1 point of max hit point. That sucked. We don't have a magical weapon, so we can't get that. And these would give XP based on Shadowdark, because you get XP for boons and things like that. Axe doesn't have that, so it is what it is. But we will search the room, which means our torch is going to go out, so we will light another torch. Yeah, okay, it's fine. So now we're down to 5. And, you know, I do it, and I've been doing it, and I think you're all aware that I've been doing it, where if we spend 10 minutes searching the room together, we find anything that's hidden. That's not really how it's supposed to work at all. The problem is mostly it's solo. I can't... You know, when you're DMing and you're playing, you have a group, you have the back and forth. A DM can indicate how the room is laid out, the specifics of it and all that. And you can sort of have clues and look at specific things and all that. That doesn't really work solo. So I hand wave a lot of it, of just like all 4 of us are searching, and we're searching different parts of the wall, different parts of the floor, and seeing if we see anything unusual. Because it's either that, or it's just an oracle roll of would I look on the wall behind the statue. Now, if I could, I suppose, just read this, you know, this top section, and then stop reading it. It's like, okay, I read this. Now I'm going to tell you everything that I'm possibly doing in this room. And anything I don't say is never allowed to happen ever. And then we go on. It's just like, that's not how I really like to play. So I hand wave it by just saying we find anything hidden. We could go for like wisdom rolls to see if we actually find what we're searching for, or we find something and we set a DC just to find it. But it's true, even DMing from my family, if they spend time searching a room, I'm just like, okay, you know, I roll my random encounter check for them, and then they spent the time, they spent the torch, they risked their time, and they find something or they don't find something. And they miss a fuck ton of loot. So, you know, I don't really want to make it any harder for them. But if I was DMing for a competent group, yes, I'd probably run it a bit more specifically where they have to kind of indicate where they're searching and stuff. Because I do think that makes some sense. 10 minutes in the dark, like, yeah, I mean, it's still tricky to find hidden stuff. So, and even then, like, I mean, we lose a lot of characters here. We don't level up at an extremely fast rate or anything, so it's not that big of a deal. But yes, on the wall behind the statue, there's a hidden niche containing a brass puzzle box. This is int versus DC 15 to open. It's worth 400 gold on its own, but it holds a topaz ring worth 2,800 gold. That's insane. But again, if this were Shadowdark and we were running it, well, I mean, it is Shadowdark, but I'm saying if we ran the money normally, 280 gold is a lot when you really have like nothing to spend that on except for carousing. Like, that's almost enough for this, 2 days of crawling dozens of taverns for a +2 bonus to your roll. So assuming you get the average, you're talking about a 6 or 7 result. That's an extra 4 XP that you just find out of this ring. And that could be for your whole group, you know? So let's say for 4 people, 4 XP, 40% of level 1 to 2. Plus the XP for actually finding this thing, which is 3. So you're talking about 7 XP total that this little thing could get you on average. That would be 1,400 gold in our system, which is still a long ways off from 2,800. But remember, Axe has a lot more to do with, a lot more things to do with your money. I think it's a little high for our purposes. We could change it to be maybe a smaller collection of different things. But it's also only 2,800 gold, so I can't like make it a magic item or something outside of some rare exceptions. Most of these magic items are going to have way too high of base costs or base values. Let's just see here. Is there anything even remotely close? No, because the base cost is going to be at least like 5 grand, right? Oh no, there could be lesser things. Yeah, potions are worth less than 5 grand. An amulet of the cursed glare, base cost of 2,350. There, I could put that in. The amulet can be used to inflict curses of varying strength on nearby victims. -1 to initiative rolls. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a pretty minor, expendable thing. Apple of Endless Slumber is a cursed apple. First living creature to take a bite from it may fall into a deep magical slumber. Brilliant. Helpless. Prevents from waking from any stimulus, even if moved, attacked, or damaged. Can be dispelled or lifted by a caster of 8th level or higher, or by a kiss on the victim's lips from royalty of the opposite sex. Brilliant. Apple of Lightning's Roots. If the apple is left uneaten until it is brought within 480 feet of a thunderstorm and begins to crackle with static electricity, whoever first bites the apple is then granted the ability to call down a bolt of lightning each round for 5 turns as the spell Lightning Strike remains available until either the spell duration or the thunderstorm ends. So yeah, a lot of these really cheap things are going to be just like a one-time or consumable or something like that. Bag of burgeoning beans. Single charge. Yeah, okay. Single charge, single charge. Yeah, so you can get a single charge 6th level effect for only 3,000. And I don't mind single-use stuff, but in a game like this, I feel like a lot of people are going to try to sell that for the XP rather than using it. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Like that apple, if I gave them the apple of Thunderbolts or whatever, it's just like, yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. I think we'll just try to sell it. So you could say you can't sell it, but I don't know. Bottled City worth 1 million gold. Oh my god. The apparent value is 50,000. Crazy. I mean, we could look at this all day. Yeah, fuck it. We'll just follow it as is and do it as is. I'm not... It's fine. It's a lot, but it's fine. But we have to open the brass puzzle box first. So Kurathair is going to try to just see if he can jimmy it open with his genius intellect. He can't. Alright. He can attempt that, like, once per day, I guess. But we do get the box itself, which is worth 400. And he's going to add that to his inventory. Alright. Cool. So we spent time searching. Did we already roll that? What were these D20s for? I have no idea. This was for him bursting through. This was the random encounter check for the noise. And then I have no idea what these were for 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago? Man, time flies fast. I don't remember, but I think we have to spend time on the torch. I'll roll another random encounter check. We're fine. Okay. So now we're going to vacate this area and go back down to this hallway. And try to listen maybe at door number 9 here. Doesn't sound like we hear anything. Yeah, okay. So she gives the all thumbs up. Noreen's gonna enter. There's a 3-foot-tall circular stone well in the center of this room. There's tapestry on the south wall. Tattered tapestry hangings, faded colors. And the floor is stonework with scattered bits of linen and thread. The tattered remains of the tapestry appear to depict a scene in a cavernous land where skeletons in clothing are walking around and engaged in conversation. A tall man in a leopard pelt is seated in the center on a throne of skulls. Hey, that's that guy we saw earlier. I'm going to tick down the torch twice, once for walking to this room and once for searching this room. Roll another random encounter check. We're fine. So we look down the well, and it looks to be just like endless, but there's a tiny red light far, far down, almost like a star in the sky. The well is 225 feet deep, and there's a blood-red tourmaline gemstone at the bottom mounted on an iron pole. It's enchanted to create a sinister red light out to close distance. On the floor around the iron pole are 3 shattered skeletons containing 6,439 silver and 89 gold. So you'd have to get the silver all back up the well. It does not say how much this blood red tourmaline is worth, so I don't know if that's in the treasure table or not. No, but it might be in his version to die for. Yeah, he only uses it once. No, so I don't know what the intended value of this is. I would assume pretty fucking high. He counts it as 3 XP for going down there. So I'd put it in that range of like 2,500 or something. Similar to the Topaz Ring. But as far as we can tell, there's just some tiny red light at the bottom of this endless well. The bottom of the bottomless well. Even if we wanted to go down there and go all the way down, we'd have to have 250 feet of rope. So I'd have to go back to the, I'd have to go back to the donkeys to collect all our rope and bring it back here to go down, which isn't high on the list of my things to do, so this one's probably unlikely. So we have a door to the east or just a hallway with some stairs to the north. I think we'll continue down our numbers and go take the staircase, but I think we'll send Scylla ahead once we can see that there's a corner, so she can peek around the corner and listen. Alright, so basically she sees this round room, because she can see as if she had lightless vision, so she can't make out any details, but she sees columns, she senses columns, however you want to explain it. She sees the dais with a stone lectern. There's a rotunda. That's about it. She doesn't sense any creatures or anything like that in there. So the rest of the group comes in. The floor is paving blocks of black volcanic stone, slightly uneven due to wear and time. Columns are 4 feet in diameter. That's pretty big. Carved from black volcanic stone. Dais in the center of the columns with a stone lectern on it. Walls are also black volcanic stone, with seemingly endless lines of runic script carved into the surface. And the rotunda, domed ceiling covered in a Vedic mosaic depicting roots, rocks, and animal burrows. I guess we'll search this room here. The runic script is written in a ringed pattern that circles the entire room, beginning at a height of 6 feet and repeating all the way down to 7 inches off the floor, where the words seem to abruptly end in mid-rotation. This is Narbonic, an ancient language that can only be read with magical assistance. Each 2-word segment is a name. They do not align with any current naming conventions and seem exotic to the reader. Yeah, we don't have discern gist or anything like that, so this is all just strange script. The stone lectern is supporting a book made of black stretched leather, roughly 80 pages of vellum describing rituals to preserve and protect the dead. If the book is lifted from the lectern, it will summon 3 shadows that emerge from the floor and attack. Okay, so I imagine Kurathair would take an interest in the book and look at it, maybe flip through pages. Describing rituals to preserve and protect the dead. Necromancy. Technically, as a upstanding member of the Tower of Knowledge, he is sworn to kind of deliver any necromantic artifacts or relics or anything of that nature, magical items, to the tower. I'm almost certain that that is true. Let me double check, though. They agree not to study or practice death magic or necromancy, and to hand over to the tower any black magic formula or items they discover. Yes, so technically he is sworn to do so. So he is going to pocket it. He is a good, upstanding member of the tower, and he wants to remain in that way. So he thinks this will earn him some brownie points. So he's going to pick up the book, and that's when 3 shadows are going to emerge, which is pretty bad. You can imagine. Shadow. So these have 11 hit points, 12 armor. They are difficult to spot except in bright daylight. Characters encountering them suffer a -3 penalty to surprise rolls. They cannot be surprised because they had foreknowledge, so we just lifted up the book. We're yeah. So we only succeed and are not surprised on a 6. Holy shit. So we like watched Kurathair lift up this book and they're like, wait, no. And then these shadows appeared. So we were kind of ready. Sort of. Yeah, these things are bad. They're immune to all mundane damage, and we have no magical attacks outside of spells. They can be rebuked, but not by Zaphiel, because these things count as incarnations, the highest level of undead. Yeah, he has to be a level 6 to even have a 10% chance of rebuking them. So that's not going to happen. Fuck. I think we should probably run. Well, we have to win initiative, but let's look at the Shadowdark Shadow, shall we? Just for comparison. I imagine it's a lot easier. 15 hit points, 12 AC, 2 attacks, but +2 for 1d4 damage, plus Drain, which is 1 strength damage. They can move near, +2 dex. Okay, well, that's not good for us. Our initiative is a 3. Theirs is 6. They're going to go first. They are going to be targeting Kurathair because he picked up the book. So he's almost certainly a dead man. He still only has 8 AC because of his -2 dex. There's not really anything we can do about it. He shouldn't have picked up the book. So, yeah, they get +2. So they need to roll a 6 or higher. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 2 hits. Maybe he'll survive. He's going to take 2d4 damage and lose that much max hit points. Even if he survives, he'll have to make a death saving throw each day when he wakes up. If he fails, he permanently reduces his max hit points by another point. He has to succeed on this con roll every day for 3 days in a row. Otherwise, he can only end the condition and restore his maximum hit points via ritual magic. I think he's fucked. I think this is the end of Kurathair. He loses 5. So he's down to 2 and 2. Yeah, he's pretty fucked. Alright, it's our turn. I guess we're going to sprint out of here. They only have a speed of 30, which is the same as ours, so theoretically we're faster. Assuming we run all the way out. They're not going to follow... I mean, they might not even follow out of the room, but they're definitely not going to follow us outside into daylight. I mean, it is pretty darn close to nighttime, but no, I don't think they'd follow us outside. So fuck it, we're going all the way outside. So that torch is done. We go up here, we go out here, we go out here, we go out here. There's a chance for a random encounter on the way, but we're fine. We're out of there. Kurathair feels very weak. He feels like Frodo, you know, after he gets stabbed by the Morgul blade. Something is deeply wrong with him. Does he know what's wrong with him? Yes, he does. So he knows about shadows. He knows what they just did to him. He knows that he's probably going to die. I need to set a con DC for this. It's probably not pleasant, but again, it's you know, if we set sort of, that's the thing. It's like there is no DC in X, right? It's just based on your own thing. So for him as a level 3 mage or wizard, whatever you want to call him, his save at this point for death would be 13 or higher. So I'm just going to set the DC, con DC of 12. I think it's usually a fair game for a standard save, unless the save in Axe has a modifier on it. So odds are then he's going to, I mean, on average, he will fail this save. So it's going to be a real stroke of luck to survive 3 times. Now it mentions that the only way to heal it is with ritual magic. So what is ritual magic? Well, ritual spells are very powerful dwellers of 7th, 8th, or 9th spell level. Only spellcasters of 11th level or higher can learn ritual spells. So we'd really have to take this to one of the, like, archmages. And he's, you know, that guy's probably very far from here. So we'll never make it. It's going to rely on his saves. All for his damn book. So if we rush out of there and we set up camp for the night outside, we're like, okay, we're going to get you back to civilization. It's going to take a few days. Hold on, Garth there. And he's like, yeah, it's not going to be good. All right. We camp for the night then at our spot here. Let me think. Rations. Technically, we did travel to get here today, so we could have foraged. Yep, Earth there foraged is his last act for us. Nah, he could forage tomorrow too. Oh, nice! We got 6 total, so we're consuming 6 rations. Okay. We then camp for the night, so it's a d20 roll. 7 is a monster encounter, unfortunately. $13 rarity is going to be uncommon, and we are in the hills right now. Uncommon in the hills. 6 is a foul addercop. Well, we're familiar with those, aren't we? Okay, we're not going to encounter in its lair because we're stationary. It's 1d4 of them. 4. Okay. Encounter distance. I don't think that really matters. Again, we're stationary. Surprise. They have foreknowledge of us, 100%. We're a big group. Yeah, so they have foreknowledge. They can't be surprised. We can be surprised. And we suffer a -2, so we are surprised on 1 through 4. Okay, we are not surprised by the addercops. So we sort of see them slowly creeping around the area, and whoever is on watch, probably there's a few people on watch, is just going to get everybody up like, hey, something around us. And now we're going to roll reaction. I do think this should be modified slightly because of the number of targets. I think there should be some sort of factor in that, right? This is not an easy fight for them. I don't know if the game accounts for that at all, or you're expected to account for that at all. Yeah, and I think often it's just like, I mean, there are multiple examples here where you don't roll a reaction roll because it's kind of obvious. You roll a reaction roll when you're not sure, when the DM isn't sure based on the context of the encounter. I think, again, it's unlikely that they would attack based on the size of our group compared to the size of their group, unless they're kind of desperate. And I think that's what we're kind of rolling to find out. So I'm gonna give 2d6 plus 2. Yeah, just to sort of... Okay, yes, they are desperate. So as soon as we start waking up, they're gonna squeal and start charging in. Alright, then who was on watch? I'll say at least one of my 4, for sure. Okay, Noring. Excellent. That's very good. So Norin's in his armor, he's awake, he's conscious, he's ready, and we'll say a few of the heavy infantries. So now our initiative, I would guess they have a +2 to Dex, and we have +0, so our initiative is 6. There's a 6, re-roll. Ours is 3, there's a 6. They're gonna go first. Alright, they're going to attack. One's attacking Noring, one's going to attack Scylla, who's not wearing her leather armor. One's going to attack a heavy infantry, and another one's going to attack a heavy infantry. Luckily, the heavy infantry have pretty good stats, 16 AC. It's pretty solid, although they might not have been in the armor. Okay, one of them was, one of them wasn't. So one of them has 10. Alright, against the 10, miss. Against the 16, miss. Against Scylla, hit. Against Noring, miss. So just Scylla took a hit here. So it's 1d8 damage. Okay, thank God. And then she has to succeed on a con, which is going to be death saving throw with a +2 bonus. So we'll say a DC of 9. It's meant to be a bit easier. Yeah, DC of 9 con check. She failed. Luck token. She failed again. Luck token. You won't need a Kurith there. Fucking hell. Luck token. I'm not having Scylla die. God damn it. Thank you. Jesus. What the fuck? It's not even a death point. It's just paralysis. She probably would have been fine. I shouldn't have done that. I thought it was a fatal. Oh well. A player might not know that. That's how I justify stuff. Alright, our turn. Noring is going to attack the one that's on him. He does hit, for sure. It's got 1 health left. Zaffiel will try to help him out. Does not. Kurith is going to probably Fan of Flames to hit. I think if he positions himself right, probably all of them. That's another thing with the axe, though. Spellcaster has to announce it at the start of the round and can't move. So you're in your position where you're in your position. Shadowdark doesn't operate that way, I'm pretty sure. So we'll say that he can hit 2. He can hit the one that was on Scylla and the one that has 1 hit point. You got a success. They get +2. The first one, the 1 health. Miss. Okay, they both take D8. Alright, he kills the 1 health. The one on Scylla has 4 hit points. She'll try to stab it. She stabs it down to 2 hit points. Okay, then the heavy infantry are all going to work together to kill their 2. I guess we could roll. We probably should roll. What do we think they get for their bonuses? Like +0? +1? It's not really clear. Because it just says 1 attack damaged by weapon. It doesn't say like their attack throw or anything, but that's because I think the mass combat rules don't use attack throws. So it would just be kind of whatever I decide for their... Well, because if they're meant to be level 0 fighters, right? A level 0 fighter would probably have just like his strength bonus to hit. I'm pretty sure, right? Well, if it was with Shadowdark. they'd get their strength bonus, which would probably be +2. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so we'll say +2. So that's going to be 8. There's 8 of them. They're all attacking. They're all involved in this combat. So it's 18-20 +2. They need 12 or higher. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And they do damage by weapon. I think they all have spears or something. Yeah, 1d6. Oh, I put +2 or +0. I don't know where I got that. I think, as I said, they were level 0, but they should have strength bonus. So 1d6 each. So that's a total of 4d6 damage. Okay. Oh, there you go. One of them did 8, and the other did 11. So there's one spider. There's 2 spiders left. One has 2 hit points. One has 1 hit point. Our initiative, 5. Their initiative, 5. Our initiative, 3. Their initiative, 5. He's gonna... Nah, I'm not even gonna roll morale. He's just gonna run. He skitters into the woods. Okay, great. Problem solved. We go back to bed. Kurth there has to succeed on a DC 12 con check to see if he gets a rest. He doesn't, so he doesn't get back Mage Missile or Illumination. Least of his concerns. The night goes on. We wake up in the morning. He has to succeed now on his normal DC 12 con check. He does. He just has to do that 2 more and he's cured. Alright, we're going to travel. Yeah, I mean, we're going to travel navigation and all that. Okay, good. So we navigate back the way we came here. Random encounter of 18. That's pretty good. In the unsettle, that's a valuable terrain encounter, baby. We need it. We need some help. 2. We find some food. 4d10 times 2 pounds of standard rations. 2 pounds are enough for 1 person for 1 day. So 4d10 rations. 25 more rations added to the pile. Technically, this is standard rations, though. So that would be 3... Technically 4... As far as slots, 4 weeks of standard rations, which would be 12 slots worth of standard rations. We'll load up the donkeys, but we are going to consume these tonight. We're going to consume 12 of the 25, so there'll be 13 left, which is two weeks, technically. So rations, standard... 13, which is 6 slots. Okay. Excellent. So that's what we consume tonight. Random encounter at night. 20. That's a terrain, so we ignore it. Awesome. In the morning, oh, you get your spells back now. Whatever good they'll do you. In the morning, you're going to roll your con check. Ho ho, he succeeded again! You might survive! Oh, that was only the first one. Oh, shit. Well, let's just pretend I rolled nothing for this one. But we do have to navigate there. Okay, we navigated here, so we're here now. Alright. Theoretically, then, we can get back to the keep today. Probably. Let's wake up. Let's go. Navigation check. He's got it. So we navigate to this one. Random encounter is a 13. That's going to be a monster. I'm almost 100% certain. No, it's a dangerous terrain encounter. Great. 4. Foul Fountain. Source of fresh water such as a lagoon, pond, spring, stream, or oasis. Regardless of the source, fountain can provide 50 gallons of water, enough for 1 platoon of 15 cavalry and mounts or 1 company of 120 infantry to stay hydrated for 1 day. Replenishing from the fountain is an incidental activity. It takes less than a turn. However, the water is foul and unsafe. Characters who drink the water without taking appropriate precautions, such as boiling it or casting purified food and water, become incapacitated 1d6 hours later with upset bowels, dysentery, and vomiting. Condition lasts 1 day, at the end of which the character becomes dehydrated. There's a 10% chance a character drinking foul water is affected by a disease. Now, this is tricky for, like, Shadowdark play, because I don't track water unless you're in the desert. I don't give a shit about water. So this one I probably would just re-roll. Unless, I mean, you could just narrate and say, okay, you come across a small pond in the forest filled with fresh water. What do you do? Like, oh, I drink it. It's like, no, the DM narrating that is like, okay, well, that's probably shitty ass, nasty ass water with a hydra in it or something. We get the fuck out of here right now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So I'm just going to re-roll it just for our sake. I don't know how I handle that right now. Spoilage. Some event or terrain feature causes the adventurers to lose stored ration. We lose 1d8 times 5% of our stored rations. Well, that sucks. 5 times, so 25% of our stored rations. Well, there goes the standard. Well, technically we have, let's see, 15 plus 15 weeks. Man, we bought a lot of food. 15 times 7, 105 plus 25. We have 130 total. Minus 25%. Okay, so we lose 32.5 days of rations. So that's going to be all the standard. All this. That's 25. And now another, like, we'll say 7. So we're down to 14 weeks of ration. Okay. Shitty, but it is what it is. All right, and then we find our shortcut and we make it back. So just one more in the Borderland tile of our keep. 9. I think that is a monster. Yes. No, it's a civilized encounter. Okay, well, that's always bad. I think we're counting this as grassland. I think the area around it is not quite a forest. It's like foresty grassland. Scrub, I don't know what you'd call it. All right, 56. That is a merchant. Okay, so there's a merchant that's come calling near the keep, asking around if anyone wants to buy anything. All right, well, this video is running a bit long for me, but we're gonna take the time to roll up the random merchant and what he's selling. So I love this table. 100. Oh my God, lucky day. He's selling worms. We could also roll on the complication table of 8. He's selling worms as a last-ditch gambit. Oh my God, he's like Rickety Cricket or something. He's just desperate. Like, please buy my worms. It's all I got. All I have in life is these worms. Please, they're just worms, but please. Would we buy worms from this guy? I think it's unlikely. Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, dude, we don't really need worms. Do we give the guy a little bit of money anyways? No, okay. It's just like, get the fuck off my property before I stab you in the neck, asshole. All right, but that's why I love this table. This is a perfect accompaniment to the civilized encounter of merchants, because that comes up pretty often in grasslands, you know. 56 to 75 is all merchants. So you have like a 25% chance to encounter a merchant in every hex you're in a grass. Well, not quite 25%, but if you have a civilized encounter, which is pretty common, pretty often you're going to run across merchants. So, yeah, and I think that's fun. Fun role-playing opportunities with these merchants. I mean, you could just come up with this shit off the top of your head, I suppose, but I'm not that creative. So I think this is good. Selling worms is a last-ditch gambit. All right, and we arrive back at the keep. We spend the night there, hoping Kurathair is going to pull through. He has to roll a 12 or higher. The odds are against him, because if he fails this, he loses 1 hit point, and he has to start over from 3 again. Crit fucking failure. We have one luck token left. Come on, buddy. Nope. All right. So he's down to 1 out of 1. And now I have to sit here for the next few. Oh, I didn't roll loyalty. I have to roll loyalty for the heavy for all the guys. We made it back to the camp, so now they're going to be like, okay, that was pretty dangerous out there. I don't think this is the life for me. So we have to roll their loyalty, whatever it is. Yeah, I should have rolled it there, but since we were heading back to the keep, they decided to stick with us until we got to the keep. So that's going to be this loyalty roll. Yeah, I mean, normally you wouldn't have to roll this unless there's like a calamity, such as they have to go without rations or wages, or they suffer a curse or magical disease, or they are reduced to 0, or other dire circumstances. But I'm saying that we have to roll it for any time they're involved in a combat, because they're not really cut out for the, they're trained soldiers meant to fight with hundreds and hundreds of other soldiers on a line against other humans and stuff. This is like adventurous shit they're doing. And even though he told them they wouldn't have to go into a dungeon or anything, this is still out of their wheelhouse. So I'm gonna have to, we're gonna roll for all 8. I'm gonna roll Kurathair's +2 charisma as part of it. Technically, I think we hired them with Elan, so they would only have +1. I don't think normally you add your charisma, but we're bending the rules a bit here with how this works. So I'm just gonna go with +2. Well, I guess the Elan part, we'll go with +3. So it's pretty slim odds then. They have to roll Snake Eyes to resign. Yeah. I mean, technically they have a loyalty of 1, so they would actually not do this at all. Well, then I guess we probably could ignore the charisma. Okay, fine. They have a loyalty of 1. We hired with Elan, so they have a +2. So then on a 2 or 3, they will resign. All right, so first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh one, eighth one. All right, none of them resign. The average there was 7, which is grudging loyalty, so technically their loyalty would go down by 1. For, like, most of them, actually. Almost all of them. One of them got loyalty. Okay, 3 of them got loyalty. 5 of them got grudging loyalty. You'd have to track their loyalty individually. I'm gonna just lower it to 0 because I think, yeah, that was not getting ambushed by demon spiders in the middle of the night is not something that's pleasant for them. All right. Anyways, we now have to. We're gonna stay here until Kurathair either dies or pulls through. So it might be a bit, or it could be one more night, which is more likely. It's definitely more likely. Okay. Next day. Yep, he's gone. Goodbye, Kurathair. We loved you. Not initially, but once you got Sunflare, it was amazing. But yes, he has died. And I think he actually, does he rise as a shadow, or does he just pass on into the... I don't think it's good. Cannot be restored to life save by ritual magic. Its soul lingers by its corpse for a day before being exiled to the outer darkness, where it might eventually turn into a shadow itself. A horrible and irrevocable fate. Yeah, that sucks, Rather. But, them's the breaks. Okay, well, that's that. I'll be ending the video here. But I don't think we want to go in without another wizard or something. So, yeah, but he was high. I mean, yeah, he was level 3. Oh, also we made it back, so he actually collects our fucking XP that he now threw away. But I can't not give him his XP just because he was about to die. He gets it. Okay, not much. But he did have some more days to try to open this puzzle box, which was a DC 15, I think. Yeah, DC 15. Shouldn't have any trouble the next few days. Okay, didn't get it that day. I think he has like one more day. Okay, he never opened it. Alright, he died without knowing what was inside. So I guess Scylla will give it a shot then. Nope, she doesn't know either. I mean, I don't know why she couldn't attempt every day as well. I feel like we'd eventually get this thing open. There you go, she got it. So we pop it open, we get this ring worth 2,800 gold, which is pretty fucking big time. Okay, but she opened it after Carather died. So we technically get this amount, 436 each. 436. How is he at such a higher number than she is? Didn't they come in at the same time? How is that? What happened there? She has more XP than that, right? She must be... I must not have updated her. So 5989 for her. Must not have updated her when I updated him. Okay. 436 plus 2135. 2571. And... yeah, I think that's all correct. I think. Oh yeah, because Zaphiel came in at level 2. So he's 2,000 XP ahead. Yeah, and then we got... Yeah, okay, yeah. Alright, and then we got this 2,800. And that's going to be divided by everybody but Carather. So 933 more. 3504. Which means he would be at 5504. And she would be at 6922. Not that far off from a nice level. Okay, and Carather is dead man. Passed on from this mortal coil. Alright. I think then we'd head back to civilization to try to find a new companion. Maybe pick up another mage. Because mages are pretty invaluable. They're all pretty invaluable, and I like having one of each. So, probably that. I mean, we could try one of the other classes, because there are other official classes, you know. There's like a bard, there's a basilisk warrior, desert rider, there's an explorer class. I don't know what this is from. They get draconic. Add a bonus equal to half your level, round down to any of the associated checks: climbing, finding and disabling traps, deciphering ancient languages, knowledge of history, artifact lore, and +1 to attack and damage with a whip. Okay, yeah, very Indiana Jones, I suppose. The Knight of St. Idris. which is like a fighter, but they get demonic possession 3 times per day, +1 bonus to your damage rolls the last 3 rounds, and add half your level to the damage bonus. So they don't get the nice attack bonuses as they level like fighters, but they get witch spells. And you use charisma stat to cast witch spell. Weren't we looking in the player's companion constantly for a charisma spellcaster? And there's an official one that's like a paladin. Like a demonic paladin. That's badass. Yeah. Problem with this other stuff is that, you know, the axe just has arcane or divine spell lists. That's it. So any of this other stuff I just have to say is an arcane or divine spellcaster, which is fair enough. I mean, the Knight of St. Idris, we just say it's a charisma divine spellcaster. And I suppose the seer would be a wisdom. I don't really know. I don't know if it's arcane or divine. I don't know what the seer spells look like. The warlock. I want to play the warlock. Yeah, I don't remember the warlock too much. The witch gets witch spells, which we would just probably say is arcane. But then it's like, what's the point, really? It's a slightly different wizard. That's why the core 4 are really just kind of all we kind of need. But the Knight of St. Idris does fill a little bit of a niche. But it's a D6 priest. So it doesn't really fill that much of a different slot. It uses witch spells. It would really be like... I think the core 4 work really well. And it's like... If someone came... Like Lego, if he came to me and said, look, I want to play like a paladin. What can we do about that? It's like, okay, we'll just play a priest and we'll say charisma is your spellcasting. That's not quite exactly what he wants, of course, because he wants to have like auras and stuff. But I mean, the divine spell list of Axe has that kind of thing. I don't know if it has anything that's specifically an aura other than angelic aura. But it has a lot of the things that you'd like to have as a paladin. That's why the default class here is a crusader. It does have a paladin, which doesn't get spellcasting. So it's a little bit of a redundant, but it's a D8 holy fighter with an aura of protection for +1 bonus to AC and saving throws on himself. And he gets lay on hands, and he can sense evil. He's immune to diseases. You know, and that's kind of it, really. But yeah, the default one is the Crusader, which is essentially a cleric, but yeah, I mean it's pretty much a cleric. It's just cleric with a cooler name. I think the core 4 are pretty good, so I would imagine we're gonna end up with another wizard. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, damn shadows. Damn book. No harm ever came from reading a book. My name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.